number 1. Spawning in the top right, it's our Zerg player in red from Russia, CSO Esports. This is YoungYakov. And spawning in the bottom left, our blue Protoss player. This is Arrogfire, Team Alpha X in France. Okay, so our final series of the day. One of these players is going to be able to advance out in second place, but the other player will unfortunately get eliminated here. Both of these players could find lots of good reasons to make it on into the next stage. And it'll be interesting to see how these two players are able to advance themselves onwards. Both players are known for very aggressive styles of play, but I would say in their respective, how do we put it? In their respective mirror matchups. YoungYakov's ZVZ is rather aggressive. He takes a lot of liberties to move himself further in the series. Of course, Arrogfire's PvP, as we saw against him versus Ryan, was incredibly aggressive as well. But overall, their non-mirror matchups tend to be a bit more reserved. So it wouldn't be surprising to see some longer form games here. Arrogfire is going to be coming out with a Stargate. Admittedly, it's been a while since we've seen Arrogfire's ZVP. Probably the last time would be maybe Ghosty. Or Arrogfire versus Ghosty. I'm trying to think if YoungYakov has played versus Arog in the immediate past. I don't think so. There's going to be a Void Ray that comes out initially here. His Overlord's gonna get picked off here. Oh, I was just gonna say the question is whether or not this is going to be a Question was whether or not this was going to be extended pressure with the air units, and it seems like that's going to be the case. A fleet beacon is on the way. Does that mean that we're going to find a we will find that second Stargate coming down here. So double Stargate, fleet beacon's going to be able to produce flux veins. Oh, this is gonna get nasty. This is just gonna get mean. Now, this is why I wasted no time in taking care of Protoss players, because having this fleet beacon exist would just make me a sad Zerg player. And this is gonna look rather normal as well. No flux veins. It's just gonna be into carriers. Oh, Arrogfire, you monster, you truly scary monster. Well, we do have a Roach Warren going down rather late here, and Nidus Network's going to come into play as well. We have the Overlord. I assume this is going to be the Overlord that's going to get morphed into an Overseer and brought on in. I think if there was ever a way to deal with this, it would be a very sneaky, surprising Roach all-in that shows up in the main base. But also at the same time, I mean, there aren't that many queens here. Is 6 queens enough to deal with this? I think that's the real question here. I mean, these carriers are going to get brought out onto the map, but Zerglings are going to be pooling up here. YoungYakov is going to go right for the gut. Oh, this is actually kind of scary here. Is Arrogfire going to be able to deal with this not being back at home? There is one Void Ray out, but this isn't that much. This isn't that much. I mean, that's just the only way to put it here. It's a lot of Zerglings here at the front wall. This Cybernetics Core is going to get picked off. That is going to be +1 weapons denied as well. But here comes the Nidus Worm. The carriers have been dealt with. One carrier actually gets killed. Oh, this is terrible for Arrogfire. This is all falling apart here. One of those queens is going to get on in very quickly. 2 of those carriers do pop out, but it's going to be continued destruction of these probes as Zerglings are going to try and work their way, weasel their way through. No follow-up aggression here with the queens, so these carriers are going to get a fair amount of damage done. One of those carriers getting killed, though, is a bit of nice damage, but I think it's just going to be a queen walk at this point here. YoungYakov senses the opportunity to try and kill this 3rd base, and it's exactly what he's going to try and do. What a weird start to this series so far. But again, is this going to be enough units here? Queens are going to be able to deal relatively well with the interceptors. They're not going to be super effective, but it is going to deal well enough with those transfuses to keep the pressure on here. This Nexus is going to go down as well. Wow, this is looking mighty brutal here. Now, Yakov has a response here to these carriers. It is going to be a Spire, so more than likely we're going to see some Corruptors coming out very soon. Oh, this is starting to look a little dicey. Okay, we've got an additional carrier coming here. The Lings actually, the Lings, I think, might have had enough staying power to be able to shut that down, but instead it is just going to be, like, that's all that exists. 6 carriers. It's carriers and probes. There are no other units. There's 1 adept now. Oh my gosh. What a silly game. What a silly game. Oh, the queens are going to get caught out here. Yakov is going to be in a rough situation. Wait. They're attacking the rocks? But why, though? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I think he's just trying to keep them out. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Oh, these Corruptors are going to be incredibly good here. Especially with transfuses. They're going to be able to tap down all of these carriers. Once these carriers fall, I mean, there's nothing left. There's nothing left to deal damage, and every carrier that falls is 1 step closer for Yakov. Yakov, GG. Game number 1 goes in his favor. Arrogfire cannot make his 2-base carrier work. I guess I did say it was 2-base carrier at the end, and it was actually 3-base. But getting that base kill was so imperative for Yakov. I was able to make that last engagement happen in a very positive way. So good set of circumstances for everything happening there. But yeah, it's good stuff. So all things interesting, at least. Arrogfire making it a unique showing. The question is, can Yakov capitalize once again on Juggernaut? This is universally a pretty strong Zerg map. It's another great map for queen walks as well because you have those giant speed circles in the center. But I'll be interested to see how Arrogfire changes things up. We don't see anything else on the map just yet. We do finally see a Stargate coming out. More than likely going to be Void Rays once again. This map does lean a little bit more favorably into Void Ray play. There we finally see the drone going out. Just going to make the comment that we haven't seen a third base just yet, but there it finally does exist. I'm just going to bring these Lings over for a bit of aggression. That ended up working out. Worked out just fine. Fair number of Zerglings being made, though. I mean, that third base is up, but 6 more Zerglings in the production tab on top of the ones already coming across the map. Could just be waiting for Ling speed to finish here, but oh, it's going to be Oracle. Oracle's going to come out to the front, so that won't be so bad. The double adept, this is not that scary. This should be okay. Oh, this is a rather aggressive all-in here. I mean, it's not even that all-in, but it's a lot of Lings. It's a lot of Lings that are ultimately going to have to pull back. But I think you just buy in some time for the Oracle to burn a lot of energy, and that is going to end up being the case here. There really isn't that many units now on the flip side of this, so being able to kill off that gateway before the shield battery is finished ends up being a bit of a surprising twist here. Now, it is just drones behind this, so this isn't super all-in, but look how boxed in this makes our Protoss player now. He is able to cancel one of those pylons. Killing off one of those warp gates does end up being really, really nice, but ultimately, this is not going to be the end-all, be-all. Third base is already down. Those Zerglings are actually probably going to push across the map once again and see what kind of damage they can find. Those Zerglings actually, I think, could have weaseled their way in the backside. Oh, that Oracle is going to get dangerously low. It's going to get picked off as well. So 2 Oracles is going to still be effective. We'll be able to one-tap workers when appropriate. But unfortunately, not going to find the damage that they're looking for. So Roach Warren's going to go down. Still no lair at this point, which is interesting to say the least. We have a robotics facility going to be pumping out an Immortal here as well. Yakov does get a chance to scout just a little bit into the base. Does have a chance to see the transition. It is going to be a robotics bay coming down. It's the lack of the lair for me that's kind of interesting. It feels like YoungYakov's actually now behind. Like, this feels wrong. I didn't think he committed that much into the aggression here, but a little bit of an income advantage for oh gosh, it's just going to be a queen walk. This is going to be a no lair queen walk. Yakov feels confident here. I guess he does have a significant army supply. And once again, this is a great map to try and get to the queens across time just because of these very, very powerful speed circles. Now, this provides a bit of interesting flair There will be an disruptor. Okay, there is one disruptor out. Can it get its way through? It can. Oh, okay. So first shot is going to be out of the range of the queens, and immediately he's going to jump on top of it here. Some great force fields go down to try and block those off, and right now that is exactly going to be the case, but yeah, he has to keep that disruptor alive. But this is actually going to work out well as well, pushing that disruptor back as far as humanly possible. If it gets in range, it can be targeted down, and it will be. That was probably one of the saving graces here for Arrogfire being able to get on top of the queens. But now the second disruptor is going to be out, but additional pressure is going to be here. Can he protect against that? No, he can't. This is going to be a very, very close situation here. Will YoungYakov be able to clean this up? There are Zerglings streaming across the map, but so many of those units got picked off as a result. Where are these queens supposed to go? They're only going to go into the ground. We are more than likely going to get a game number 3 unless something really wild shakes up here. Arrogfire in such a great position. This should be enough to lock this down. Oh, a fourth base is going to go down behind this, but that's so many dead units. A lair now about halfway done, and it's out at the third base location. I mean, this ends up being quite the rough situation for our blue Russian Zerg. Great hold here by Arrogfire. Very, very careful and calculated. Almost letting it slip through his fingers, though. But as more disruptors get brought into the mix, this should be an okay position for both players, actually. This ends up still being a close economic advantage. But has Yakov rebuilt what he needs to keep this game alive? There are a couple of those disruptors. One does get picked up. The Warp Prism is going to be able to juggle those back and forth. First disruptor shot doesn't quite land, utilizing those resources. The second one doesn't land either, so this is going to be a rare moment here for Yakov to try and get some damage done. Warp Prism is not going to be able to warp in units. These sentries are going to be very vulnerable here for just a brief amount of time, and this continues to be off creep. This is a scary situation here. YoungYakov doesn't want to overcommit. Arrogfire trying to bait him backwards into a position where he can get on top of the army with these disruptors. Disruptor is going to be able to get down. Oh, that's going to be so much damage. GG is called. Arrogfire evens it up 1-1. And we are going to go to a game number 3. Game number 3, folks. Well played. All right, I think Yakov is having a few internet problems, but you know, that's okay. Outside of his control, can't be helped. Now it just looks as if it's going to be the Twilight Capsule on the backside of this. Ooh, okay. All right. Like it. More than likely probably going to be a Resonating Glaive Adepts. And I mean, this is a perfect build to go for when you have an opponent that has been blocked out of their natural initially. So Yakov's going to take his third base here. But he's not going to have it nearly as fortified as if he were to get that natural initially, because now there's not going to be any forward buildings, or not as many forward buildings to help hold a natural wall. It's kind of just all sorts of positive for the Protoss player. Yeah, and here comes that Resonating Glaives right now. Yo, Grimdy! Grimdy gaming with the raid. Thank you so much, friends. We're in our final game of the day here. The AlphaX Junior Championships. It's Group A of the round of 8. YoungYakov and Arrogfire currently even up 1-1. The winner of this match will move on into the Season 3 playoffs to join Ryan in the playoffs bracket. But only one of them can advance, and both of these players have been in the playoffs many times before. It looks like it's going to be Arrogfire kind of winding up here. It will have a pretty strong punch. It's going to be 4-gate. That will be a sizable amount. The additional warping of Adepts should be enough to indicate here that something wicked this way comes. And looks like Yakov's going to try a little bit of aggression of his own. He does have a Roach Warren down, so he's going to have what he needs to help make this work out. I think this is truly Arrogfire's moment. Oh, is he going to be able to? Yeah, he's going to have to lock this in. Going to have additional Adepts as well, but that's going to be a Warpin that he doesn't have back at home. Suddenly, this is kind of looking a little bit less desirable for our blue Protoss player. This is a big moment here. Arrogfire has to be careful not to let it slip. Okay, the wall was not completed here back at home, so Arrogfire does have the option if he wants to try and get out to his third base location, and it looks like he is going to, in fact, try and get that done here. But he's going to have to kill a lot of these units off the head of this attack, but he's not even able to get up into the main base. This is starting to look a little dicey. Not really getting any work done with this push here. So instead, he's just going to get back home. He's going to go try and protect his third Nexus, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the unit tab of our Zerg player just grow immensely here. Yeah, it's going to be more units, more Zerglings, more Roaches. No drones in the production tab just yet. These Adepts are now finding to get into a bit more economic damage here. 9 drones getting picked off. But now we're going to finally start seeing drones in the production tab. It could prompt YoungYakov to go all in, especially now that Glial Reconstitution has been completed. Creep is starting to push out pretty nicely. Instead, it looks like the Warp Prism's just going to head back home. This is a sizable amount of units, though. Should be enough units to really lock down the third base location, for sure. Oh no, the Immortals are caught. Arrogfire hasn't figured this out yet. Oh no. Oh no. Arrogfire, please don't lose, because your Immortals were caught. Oh, this is not great. This is not a great start to the defense here for our French Protoss player. Lings are going to be able to swarm on in here, and they will be able to get some really decent surrounds here. The Warp Prism is going to be able to aid in some hot pickups here, but there's only so much that can be done. Now that there are a lot of these units mitigated here, the probes have been killed off. There aren't that many left, and here comes the Queen. The Queens are going to be able to put in some extra damage from the low ground of all places. Oh, the Immortals are slowly getting picked off here. There's only one that remains and is so dangerously low. YoungYakov is up against all sorts of stalkers right now, and so he has to be careful. He needs those reinforcing Lings to come across the map. I think YoungYakov is in position. Arrogfire doesn't have a whole lot left. He has a shield battery and a Dream, but even that is not going to be enough to protect him from the swarm. As it comes on in here, these Queens will be able to mitigate a lot of the damage there. The Warp Prism has been dealt with. These units have been dealt with. The third base is evacuated right now, and all that's left is the natural. As it comes on in here, it is starting to find a little bit of leeway is going to be able to start locking things into place. The first wall goes down. YoungYakov, all he has in production tab is just Zerglings. He wants this game to be over. And YoungYakov is continuing to shove on in here. More and more Ravagers show up to the fight, and that means the Stalkers are not going to be as effective here. The high ground has been taken, so now it's Arrogfire backed into a corner. These probes have been evacuated out of the natural once more. Arrogfire trying to hold on. The worker counts are identical, 96 to 60, but 53 to 16 is the remaining army counts. The Zerglings on the backside here putting a little damage onto the building, but I think YoungYakov has done it. I think our Russian Zerg player has ended the champion's reign. GG is called. YoungYakov knocks off the Season 1 and 2 champion and advances himself into the playoffs bracket of Season 3. Well played. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Make sure to click the subscribe button so you can catch more of my videos as they are released. If you want more Rushi content, feel free to find me on Twitch and Twitter. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.